Josh Robertson Show. I'm back. I took a week's break just because I needed a breather. I produce a fair bit of content, so you'll see me take these little planned breaks from every now and again just to recharge my batteries a little bit. Nothing is wrong. A lot of people were tweeting me like, oh my God, what's wrong? Nah, bitch, I was just taking a week off. I just needed some to recharge my batteries. I think it's good for everyone's mental health sometimes. I'm not in a bad spot at all. I just needed to fuel up. And just a nice break where I don't have to worry about any kind of podcasting or any kind of content creating, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call it. Just needed to refuel. But I am back. Of course, Ditz versus Josh wasn't on this past week, but of course we'll be back next week because of Money in the Bank. We don't do stuff on pay-per-view weeks. Ditz and I's schedule just gets a little hectic. We're in completely different time zones. But me and Ditz will be back next week for Ditz versus Josh. You've seen this title, though, for this show. Now, I know this is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's just not going to be. That's fine. I'll see you next week, I guess, or I'll see you on my other shows this week. If this isn't your jam, that is fine. But someone's jam, it definitely is. Like, the sweetest of jam for them is probably making, I don't know, Queen, is this like your 40th appearance on one of my podcasts at this point? 41st,
probably.
maybe?
41st,
Queen
maybe.
is here, though. Queen is like, there's no other person in the world that I think I'd rather be able to talk about this at length than Queen, to be completely honest.
I think it's our destiny.
Yeah, like if wrestling doesn't work out, we get a bit sick of wrestling. We've always going to do a High School Musical podcast because we could probably get a lot of episodes out of it.
Can I tell you the amount of breakdown that we would be able to do? We could have a season per movie.
Oh my God, we really could. I'm honestly, I'm here for it. I wonder if I have my own network that I could put it on.
Oh my God, so weird.
But yes, Queen is here. We just talked for the last 35 minutes about way more intense shit that we don't even need to get into. But we're going to talk High School Musical today, and I'm going to tamper in a little bit of camp rock because it's for my own sanity. I know you're not the biggest camp rock girl in the world, but I'm a camp rock guy, so I've got to talk about it just a smidge. But we'll get to that later.
All right, buddy.
First and foremost, Queen, I did take a week's break, as I said at the top of the show last week, but I am back, and I guess you're my welcoming party. So put on your party hat.
Put it on. I'm ready to party.
Queen, how are you, by the way? I didn't even ask because I'm rude.
You're not rude. We've been talking for 30 minutes before this, to no one's surprise. But I'm good. I'm psyched. I'm ready. Once a wildcat, always a wildcat. And I firmly believe that, my friend. And there's nobody I would rather do this with than you, because a couple of weeks ago on Twitter, we just started the most amazing thread of all time about High School Musical. And people were not prepared for the amount of sass that came out from us both. I'm just laying it out there, Josh. It's straight facts.
No, it was all caps sass. Like, it was just, well, I'm always typing in all caps, let's be honest, but it was all caps sass. I have opinions on High School Musical, which we'll get to in a minute. That was a thread though. Like, I didn't even intend for it to be that long, but we opened a can of worms.
It went downhill for some of those characters fast.
Oh man, we dragged them, Queen, with a KW. Like, we dragged them, sis. Like, we dragged them through the mud.
Fully.
But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. We aren't lying. We there were no lies in this. We were just shooting facts, and hey, I guess it's all subjective, but you're wrong. Anybody out there that doesn't agree with me, you're wrong. Because that's how and if I can, Twitter works.
It is how the world of Twitter works. And if I can find that thread again, I will repost it when this tweet comes out for the episode. I
post like 14 tweets an hour.
I know.
So,
I will find it. Okay.
Damn. All right. Challenge laid down. Challenge accepted, I guess. While you're finding that, this is a good chance for me to say, because I had this on the forefront of my brain. This is the only show that it fits in. I was tweeting a lot the other day about a certain album that came out of one Hayley Williams, Petals for Armor.
Yes.
And it would be a disservice to my fandom of Hayley Williams and Paramore if I didn't just briefly touch on it. You probably seen my tweets and my kind of thoughts on that. Also, Hayley Williams, like most of my tweets about them, and I was like, this bitch probably thinks I'm a stalker. So that's great. But it's fine. I honestly, you're gonna stalk anyone. I'm not condoning stalking, but Hayley Williams is a wonderful human being, so
I mean,
you know, I'm glad that she liked my tweets. But Pedals for Armor came out. I've been waiting for that album since January when she announced it. I've been waiting for a solo album from Hayley for a long time. And everyone knows how much I adore Paramore. I grew up on Paramore. It's just that little part of me that's still 16-year-olds jamming out to Paramore. And the biggest fear I had of Hayley Williams' music was it's just going to sound like Paramore. And this album did not. It's 17 tracks of just alternative, it's a little bit of everything, and I really, really liked it. So anybody listening that is a fan of Paramore, is a fan of Hayley Williams, is just a fan of music that's a little bit outside of the box, go and listen to Pedals for Armor. You can, of course, stream it on whatever service that you're on. It's a very good listen. I've listened to it a lot, and I just wanted to get that out there before we started chatting about High School Musical, because it was just on the forefront of my brain. But yes, go and listen to that album and all of that good stuff. It's what I'm listening to at the moment. So if anyone out there wants to copy me, then go ahead and listen to Pedals for Armor. Okay, so I really drove a fork in that one. I don't even give a fuck. Okay, so I'm in that. I've got sass today because we need sass for what we're about to talk about. Now, before we get into opinions on the characters, let's just go through the 3 movies and give a rounded opinion on each movie. We'll start at the top, I guess. High School Musical #1. I believe it came out in 2005, would it be, Queen?
2006.
2006.
January 2006, so pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so the very top of January 2006, we were introduced to I remember seeing the ads on Disney Channel and being like, oh, this seems like something up my alley, because it's music, it's a bunch of teenagers running around like, I'm in love with you, and I'm not. It just seemed right up my alley. I was 10 at the time. 10 at the time that movie came out, so I was impressionable, I guess you could say. I was a little kid, but I just remember dancing around to that movie at that age. But High School Musical 1, it certainly blew up, and I don't think in a way that Disney... It was only a Disney Channel original movie. They're not like super budget, they're just for Disney Channel.
Right. They're just the Disney Channel. And, for those of you back in the day that weren't around, let's say, or weren't watching Disney, the Disney Channel original movies were a huge deal. It was like a Friday night, a Saturday night event. And they spent every waking moment during every commercial break during the week building to this thing, right? Yeah. It's like, it kind of reminds me of like what Netflix is. It's like, oh, we're going to watch this like original series kind of vibe, But there are some bangers, don't get me wrong. Oh. Brink, Motocross,
Cadet Kelly,
Fart House. Cadet Kelly is a classic. If you haven't seen that, get on it. And there's so much more. But this one was different because it was in the era of Glee. It was in the era of trying to make music and theater, quote unquote, more mainstream, more cool, right? And I was in college. 2006, I was in my sophomore year of college. And my brother was, let's see, if I was 20 or 19, he was 7, 8. So when this came out, he was like all jazzed for it because he did theater with me. Well, I made him in high school because he was a little kid, and we always needed little kids for something, right?
Sorry to interrupt, but just to hold that, if you go back in my archives, guys, somewhere in my classic episodes, I believe I have the links on my link tree to my classic feed. If you go back into the Josh Robinson Show Diving In thing, you can actually listen to a Diving In conversation that we had probably about this time last year, Queen, maybe give or take a few months.
Roundabout.
About your theater life and where you've kind of come from. So for anybody that is like, Queen, theater, what the fuck? Pause this, go and find that. I might even do this as a little... I might even add the link to this description, actually. You can scroll down and you can find that episode because it's a different side of you. And that's
something we share.
Exactly. So go and listen to that if you haven't. I suggest doing that and then come back to this, and sorry to interrupt, Queen.
Oh, no, you're fine. It's a part of my life, such a big part of my life. And my mom was like all jazzed about it. And this was right before I went back after winter break when this came out. And I watched it with my mom and my brother in 2006. And holy crap, did this totally explode. Like totally exploded. Everything was High School Musical. It was all over the news. People were freaking out about it. And they didn't, I don't think, expect it to be like this.
No
This
way.
was a very big deal. And very quickly, it became a phenomenon. They had live concerts. Do you remember those?
Do I remember those, Queen?
Well, does the wider audience remember those?
Like,
Maybe.
oh my God, you don't know me. I do, and I just remember like everyone was like, "This is like the modern day version of Grease. This is how." Like,
Yes,
you remember those comparisons, and
I do.
rightfully so to a certain degree. I think definitely, and I just remember as soon as High School Musical kind of released and then got the kind of fanfare that it did, it was like, okay, next one, let's get this. I remember seeing stuff about like they're going to make a second one and it's going to be bigger and better, and again, the budget for High School Musical 1 would not have been huge. I couldn't imagine it'd be monstrous. No Disney Channel original movie. I could imagine it was up to par, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like a cinema budget, like they were just making stuff directly to TV.
I feel like in doing research for this podcast to kind of brush up on like the dates and stuff, I believe it was like 4 million.
Which isn't
like
that's chump change.
It's not a lot for any type of movie, and I'm sure that spiked or whatever because of how many people bought into this. I mean, there was High School Musical gear. You go into a Claire's in the US, and there was High School Musical. Zac Efron was over everything, and it just like completely took off. It felt more like a regular Disney movie in a lot of ways. Like it totally exploded. And you're right. It was a low budget. It was just like in a high school, like a real high school, and these kids. And holy God, did it take off?
Oh my God! It was just like another. I remember. So I believe it came out in Australia a little later. I believe because January is our summer break. That's when Christmas time until
the
start of February is our 6-week break of school, and that's our summertime, obviously. So we're in a break. I believe it aired when we were back at school, because I genuinely remember going to school at that age. Everybody watched Disney Channel. That's what you talked about in the classroom. That's what you talked about at recess and lunch. That was the talk. Everyone was like, "Did you watch High School Musical?" It's like, of course I watched High School Musical. And it was for someone who was, I mean, I would have been in like grade 4, something like that. Obviously, in that time, you're doing every subject. You're kind of doing a little bit of the arts and music and whatever, and drama class and all of that kind of stuff. I was definitely into that. I've stated that many times, and I don't think that comes as a shock to anybody, is that I'm very animated, and that's just where I feel most comfortable. Everyone was like, we need to do something with High School Musical. Of course, they don't teach that in the curriculum because it's so new. But there's actual schools now. I know because of my younger brother that like they do plays and it's High School Musical, because it is kind of old. It's 15 years old, this movie. Like, yikes.
You know what's crazy? I directed High School Musical. Jesus. I directed and produced High School Musical for my students in 2011, I want to say. Jeez. Either 2011 or 2012, one of those years. And the amount of people that came to that performance, we had to make extra performances because so many people wanted to come. It was a sensation. And the play version is very similar to what you saw on screen, by the way. So the first movie, I feel like, Josh, back to your earlier point about talking about them, generally all 3 films, I feel like this one is super iconic because it's the first. It's always going to have that. It's always going to have that place.
It's like a debut album. Okay?
Yes.
Like, there always is a special... It might not be the best, but it always has that special place. For anyone that's listening to this, they're just purely a wrestling fan. It's like that first title reign. No matter what, it's always the first. It's your first kiss. It's your first, whatever. It's special. It's always going to have a special place in your heart. And I feel like at that time, being that age, it was like High School Musical 1 is just... It's a word I like to use, but it's iconic. Like, it is just purely iconic.
It is. It's purely iconic. And honestly, it's my favorite for a lot of those reasons. but mostly because it is the first, and it
so
set
nostalgic.
off this wave, and it's so nostalgic,
Oh my
and
god.
it set off this wave of like, that coupled with Glee and coupled with a couple different other shows, excuse me, that celebrated theater.
Yeah.
It changed and paved the way, I think, for a lot of
It made it
things.
modern. It made it more
It made it
modernized.
modern,
Yeah, and
right,
it brought it
and
up to the
cool,
times
and
because there was a certain
anybody could be a
perception.
part of it.
Yeah, it wasn't
Right.
like you're a loser who's singing songs from the 50s. Like it brought it into today, at that time, into today's world, and it made it seem
Exactly.
a little bit more cool.
Yep.
When it wasn't, because honestly, let's be honest, a lot of theater at that time was songs from the 70s. You were performing fucking Cats, and you were doing, other
Yep.
other stuff.
We
Because
did Grease, we
yeah,
did
like, how
Godspell,
many
we did
times could you
Jesus
do
Christ
Grease?
Superstar,
Yeah,
and
how many
Les
times
Mis.
and it's like, how many times can you do those plays before it's just like, okay, this is just what it is. There's nothing else to do here. So I feel like it did. Now, I do want to mention something about High School Musical 1.
Yeah,
As opposed to, we'll go through the timeline here, but the acting in it isn't great.
No, oh God, no.
It's
By
kind
the
of
time
like
you
it's
get to the
very
third movie,
cheesy.
it's much better.
Oh, but it's like,
It's this first movie is so Disney, it hurts a little bit sometimes.
because Disney is cheesy. Disney is cheesy and it's corny, but that's honestly one of the appeals for me.
Yeah, it's
you watch
fun.
it now and you're like, oh man, like this is if you analyze this movie,
it's trash.
the acting
It's
in it is so poor. Like no one's getting an
So
Oscar
bad.
nom for this. Like it's
No.
not happening. Like Zac Efron especially, you could
It's
tell that
bad.
dude got hired because he's pretty.
Him and those eyes, though. Oh, swoon.
He is a very pretty man, and
Yeah.
he wasn't even singing in this first movie.
Nah, I mean, Troy was, listen, he could
he was
sing,
that typical
but
Disney
Right.
heartthrob. All teenage girls at that point were just like, I want him. And
Yep.
that was what he did his role.
he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And everything was great. But I feel like by the time we got to the third movie, things were much, much better for him.
And
Like,
Zac Efron
he evolved.
especially, he's come
Yeah.
along. He's the biggest star from that movie, hands down. There's nothing's even
Oh,
close.
of course.
His kind of star is kind of constantly rising, but he is improved. And
Yes,
his
much
roles
so.
that he's taking now are much different, obviously, to playing a 16 and 17-year-old in school. Like he's jacked. Let's be honest. He was a skinny little runt in this movie, and he's like jacked now.
But we got to Baywatch, and things changed, honey. Whew.
Babe watch more like it. Get it? Josh After Dark.
What is this, headlock talk?
Copying. Don't like to see it. So
Throw it in there.
let's go to the second movie, which we both agree is not our favorite of the three. It's not bad. I don't think it's bad. I don't think any High School Musical movie is bad. I'll just put that out there. But it's the weakest of the three. They're not even in school. Let's just point that out. Okay, state the obvious.
And yeah,
they're not in school. They're working at a Sharpay's dad's club or something like that.
The country club. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk about the music of the movies a little bit later, but the movie itself, the plot of this movie always confuses me. I don't think I can ever clearly lay out this movie. I don't know why. As opposed to there's a clear plot in the first and the third, this one is kind of all over the place. There's no structure. If you break it down, there's no structure to this movie, I think.
Well, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of clear that, they're all looking forward to summer vacation and none of them have jobs. And then there's Sharpay. Sharpay, of course, after saying to us all at the end of the first movie that Gabriella's cool, everything's fine, blah, blah, blah. It's really not, because she's Sharpay, right? So she comes out and she's like, well, Troy should definitely be with me. So she's the catalyst, the antagonist in this story.
Yeah.
And what she wants is Troy Bolton. And she knows that she can get him a job where she spends her summer, because she's a member of the Lava Springs,
oh, yes,
country
Lava
club,
Springs,
right?
That's right.
Right. So she starts pulling her strings. A lot of this plot has to do with Sharpay trying to mold Troy to be the man that she wants him to be and to be with her in her world.
Mm.
The subplot is Troy trying to do what's best for him and his family by getting a scholarship to college, and he feels a lot of pressure, so he succumbs to that and becomes a little bit of a douchebag, and his friends are like, "Ah, you're rude." And then he realizes in the end that it's more about friendship and what people think of him and what he thinks of himself as opposed to catering to whatever Sharpay wants to do.
Classic
That's
Disney.
the generalized
Classic
plot. Now,
Disney.
classic Disney, right? The evil comes in, but it never can quite take hold. And then friendships form between Ryan and everybody else and blah, 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 whatever. And Gabriella's continuing to be problematic. But that's the basic plot. How they get there, though, is choppy.
It's like a maze. It's like...
It is.
I don't know. Again, we'll talk about the music in a minute. We'll talk about High School Musical 3 while we're at it, just to kind of...
Let's keep it going,
keep it rolling here, just so... Because we'll spend a lot of time on the music. And on one in particular character. 3 is my favorite. 3 is...
Yeah.
3 is just... Obviously, it was in the cinemas. It, you know, had a bigger... But it was bigger, better. Everyone looked better. Everyone felt better. Everyone felt bigger. The music felt bigger. It was just the stamp on the 3 movies. Now, I know that it's very... High School Musical seems to get very decisive, doesn't it? People are like, this is the best one. This is the best one. Because there's a lot of people, including Kevin, Wrestling Reverb co-host, that is like, 2 is the best. He thinks 3 is the worst. I'm like, well, I've never been...
It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, that's fine. Everyone has... There's always a right and a wrong, obviously.
Right. Come on, Kev.
Come on, Kev. Get with the thing. We're just dragging Kevin. Oh, well.
We are. Sorry, Kev.
I'm not. So, like, 3 is my favorite. And 3 feels like a movie. It flows like a movie. And...
It does. It looks like a movie.
Growing up. And at that point, so what, 2009 this movie was?
8.
So...
Could be 9 for you, though, because it was late. It was like October. It was
probably, I think it came out just before Christmas. I remember that. So at that age, I was going into high school. I was 13 years old. Yeah, that sounds about right. I was at that age and I'm just like, okay, it's like that next chapter of my life and they're all kind of ending this chapter of their life. It feels, you know when a movie feels like it's directed at you? And it's like, oh, I feel like this because it's scary. Going into that stage in your life, as weird as it is now to say, it's like such a small part of your life when you're out of it. It's like, okay, there's much more you have to face in life. But at that time, that's the biggest thing you're ever doing. It's like you're growing up and you're becoming a teenager and it's weird and like your body's changing, everything's changing and things... This is when I feel like 13, 14, 15 years old is when you're taking in so much information because you're trying to decipher what I like, what I don't like, what's right, what's wrong, and you're like, fuck, so much is coming at me. And at that, you know, that movie speaks to, it spoke to you in different ways, and you kind of experienced that kind of time. I'm trying to cut it up, and it does come across as deep, because there is deep meaning to these movies, I think, in the underlines. Maybe not on the forefront, but in the underlines, they're targeted at children.
It's a lot of conversation. Yeah, it's a lot of conversation about self-discovery and who do I want to be? Like a lot of Troy's journey from 1 to 3 is who am I going to be as a person? Mm-hmm. This is what I was known for when I was 14, 15, but now that I'm 17, 18 and I'm moving on with my life, is that what I want to be doing? And who am I doing this for? That's a big conversation that Troy, Gabriella, Chad, Taylor, they all have. Even Sharpay and Ryan to some extent, but not as much. Their paths are pretty set, but like Ryan has more character development, I think, than Sharpay. But for the rest of them, it's like, you know, my mom or my dad or my parents said that this is my path, and I'm discovering that I don't know if that's necessarily the case. That's a big deal.
Oh, absolutely.
To include that in a quote unquote silly Disney movie. I mean, with all of the Disney films, there's underlying messages and underlying statements. Absolutely. And this one is a big one for adolescents.
Disney teaches you a lot. It teaches you a lot about life without even you knowing, because you're at an age where you don't know. But as you watch it as an adult, you go back and watch any Pixar movie, for example. You go back and watch and you're like, oh, okay. Toy Story is about finding differences in one another and becoming one. Like there is, but as a kid, they're just toys. They're just toys running around and it's cool to watch. But in High School Musical, there's a lot of adolescence drama that you experience. It's very real, some of this. I mean, you're not going around singing and dancing. Well, to a certain degree.
Well,
to a certain, not just breaking into a dance in the middle of the schoolyard and everyone knowing choreography. That would be fantastic, but that doesn't happen.
I mean, that's like a flash mob. Never would happen.
Oh my God. My dream is still Disney. I know you're listening. You've got Disney Plus now. Doesn't need to be a big budget. Hire me. I will work for free. I'm not kidding.
I know you will, buddy. I know.
But just make me the main star, and I'm happy. But yeah, it does have underlining messages. 3 is like approaching that next chapter in your life, and it's like, okay, what do I do? You said about Troy, and you touched on Sharpay for a minute. I love Sharpay. Sharpay and Ryan are my team. They're my unit. They're my go-to characters for this movie. I love them to bits. But you're right. Sharpay is probably the most same from 1 to 3. She doesn't really
underdeveloped.
Yeah, she doesn't really have. She has moments, of course, but it's always the same thing. You get to the end of the movie, she's nice, and then she's a bitch by the next one. That's kind of how
that's Sharpay
goes. But that's Sharpay. There is still development, but there's the least. Ryan, on the other hand, I think has a way more
to his own.
The first one, he was literally just with Sharpay. The second one, he started to he showed moments of that, like, is he his own person. 3, he come into his own like crazy. I love Ryan. A lot of people don't give Ryan a lot of credit.
I love Ryan too.
On a pure analyzing scale, he's the best dancer. He's the best classically trained singer. You can hear it in his voice. Like he comes from that background. You can tell he did a lot of theater, which I think he did, didn't he? I think
he did.
He probably has the most theater background out of them all. But let's slide into the music here. There is a very big difference from 1 to 3 in the style of music. 1 is that very stereotyped kind of Disney musical movie, and it feels that. You listen to Sticks to the Status Quo, and you listen to Bop to the Top. They're very like,
so good.
I mean, I love them. Oh, don't get me wrong, I love.
They're peppy.
Them.
They're very peppy.
Put a pep in your step. They're ready to go. Like that.
100%.
They have a clear rhythm. They have a clear tune. It's just that's what it is. But at that time, I mean, I remember watching this movie for the first time through, and Status Quo was the one that just spoke to me on another level. Like Status Quo. I mean,
it's probably the best. One of the best songs in the first movie. I think not only because of the depiction of like the different groups in high school, because high school looks very different now than it was when I was in high school. High school looked exactly like that Status Quo. It was exactly like that.
And I mean,
it's still there, but it's very different now. It's very different now than it used to be. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been at school in like 7 years, but at least when I was there, it wasn't to that maybe extent. But there's a difference from when I was at school.
Grew.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it was interesting to watch that work out, and everybody's being told to stay in your lane. It was very rare that people went out and did something that if you were the jock, then that was what you were supposed to do. It was very like that.
I think.
Yeah.
I think so. Even now, I would imagine that there is still that thing of like you're in your box, don't really step out of it. And it's super uncomfortable to do that. Like it's like, oh God, that
bigness.
Ooh, especially something like this. But Status Quo is what I mean. I can recite that song like I'm just so here for it, and it's just so the way it's put together and just everything about that song I just absolutely love. Obviously, there's the standouts from that movie. Breaking Free is iconic.
Of course,
we're all in this together. Iconic. Something that doesn't get as much love though is Start of Something New. The very first song you hear in all of the High School Musical movies, and it's so honestly, you watch it now, it's just like this is so cute. There's a certain level of lame to it, but it's like, oh my God. But Start of Something New doesn't get as much love as Breaking Free is fantastic. Let's call a spade a
Yeah.
spade. If I go out to a club, they play Breaking Free because it's that age group that just all watched High School
Yeah.
Musical, and we go off. Like, it's like,
Of
kind
course you do.
you're drunk and you're like, absolutely, I'm going to sing every word to this song. But Breaking Free is plain and simple. There's not really much more to say on Breaking Free because it is truly just iconic. It's an iconic piece of music. We're all in this together, same vein. It is. But start of something new, Queen. It doesn't get as much love,
It
does
gets
it?
in there. Yeah, it doesn't, because it's not as celebrated as the other songs. It's the beginning moments, they karaoke, they're forced to do it together. He's not a singer. She's like this smart, nerdy person who would never go in center stage, and she's nervous. And,
She's
you know,
wearing the glasses and the lab coat.
she's wearing the
Ugh.
glasses. I can't. Oh my God, I cannot. But it's so good. It's so good.
It is
And
really
another one that I don't think gets not a lot of love either in this one is Get Your Head in the Game. And the reason I'm going to say that is because this song, while not a banger, Josh, showed people that athletes can be a part of theater. And that was the very beginning, the little taste of what Troy Bolton, the basketball superstar, could do. And that, for me, set the tone at the beginning of the movie. I'm like, okay, we're going here. We're going to get in this musical. And now I see what we're going to do.
I get that. I'm not a big
Plus
Troy
the
mark. I'm
choreography.
not. I never was.
No,
I
you're-
never related to Troy. I just, I don't know. I never liked Troy's music, with the exception of one that I'll talk about after. But it's not to say that I disliked it. I don't know. There was something about it that was just like, this doesn't speak to me. I guess I just didn't relate to it, and I was like, I don't really care for this. But
Yeah.
you know, I understand what you're saying. Definitely. Let's spend the next 45 minutes talking about the absolute banger that is Bop to the Top.
Can we? Because it's the best.
So
First of all, the
good.
outfits, I can't. The ladder, I can't. The disco ball, I can't.
The
The
moves,
choreography,
oh,
I can't.
they're so basic. They're basic
So
white girl
basic.
moves. They're so good.
They are.
They're so good.
I don't know. As a white girl, I take offense.
Well, I'll say they're basic
No,
white
I'm
boy
kidding.
Josh
I'm
moves.
joking. White boy Josh moves.
I am
Caliente.
You've seen me dance on
Suave.
TikTok. I am a
I
white
have.
boy when I dance. It's
That's
whew.
all right.
I'm fine with it though.
You're perfect for this role.
stay
You're
in
perfect.
my lane.
Made,
But Bop to the Top
made
is
for
just
popping.
it's a bop.
It's to the top.
What I've been looking for, but like the Sharpay. Oh,
Let me tell you.
It's
It's
better.
better. She was so right. She's like, our whatever did the arrangement. And I'm like, yes, queen. Yes, you
Oh,
did.
she is
And
an
they
absolute-
were
She was
perfect.
a queen before you called queen. She was a queen before Queens was a thing. She was an absolute
Yes, she
queen.
was. She was one of the original queens.
I watch that now and I'm like, yes, just slay. She absolutely slays in every, because she owns who she is. That's why
The
I like
Britney
Sharpay.
Spears microphone.
Oh,
Come
I'm
on.
a Britney Spears guy. Like Britney over Christina any day of the week. By the way, Queen.
Same. Same.
Christina, get out of here. Britney, I'm
She
a
can
slave
run.
for
She
you.
runs too much.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Yep.
Damn, I'm all for Britney.
Toxic.
I know she's not that great of a singer. I don't give a fuck.
No one cares.
I don't care. She has
I'm
some
telling you.
iconic songs, but
Yes.
Sharpay
Bob
is
to the top.
that Britney Spears is like the staple of what you make in these movies. You know, that bubblegum kind of blonde bombshell. It's the Britney Spears mold, and Sharpay fits that to an absolute T, and she owns it, and she just owns herself in these movies. That's what I like about her. She's like, I'm walking around here. I know I'm rich. I know I'm hot. I don't give a fuck. Look at me.
Yep.
Everyone wants
Yep.
that kind of confidence. And if you're lying, if you're not, like if you say you're not, you're lying. And you want that confidence.
Slay
in life.
queen.
Absolutely. But yeah, her, just, Two
It's
had
so-
some bangers. Let's not discredit the music of Two, because there is some bangers in there. Every Day is the best Troy and Gabriella duet, and I will stand by that forever.
You're not wrong. Other than
So-
Breaking Free, you're not wrong.
I think it's better than Breaking Free. It's not as iconic, but I
Oh.
think it's a better song than Breaking Free.
Well, the lyrics are better, yes.
And just the way
Musically-
it happens, like, it's just
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
ooh, every day. Like, that bit just, that gets me in my, like, soul. I love Every Day. And I'm not a
It's a
Troy and
good song.
Gabriella guy. But that
I know
song,
you do not like them.
I am,
But-
Every Day is just, I always sing that song when it's on. I'm just like, yes, just feel it. Gotta Go My Own Way is also kind of a bop, even though it's annoying Gabriella who's like, I'm moving because you touched my shoulder wrong. Fuck off. Get out of here, Gabriella. You're so...
What about us? What
but
about
it is
everything we went
that
through?
bit.
Come on, Josh.
What about
so
trust? It's just like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
good. I
it's
never
so...
want to hurt you.
I like how you were
What
doing
about
you were doing the Troy bits. I was doing the Gabriella bits, but
I
let's
know.
honestly run with it. Who gives a shit?
Who cares?
It's just, man, that song is good, and I will admit that.
It is.
But the
Bet
problem-
on It is low key good too.
Yeah, the moves in
Low
Bet
key,
on It
though.
with
The
the
moves.
water, and he's walking around,
Yes.
and you're like, oh, Troy, and you're like, oh, and he's in his stripy polo shirt, like you're like,
Yes,
okay.
honey.
Like, all right, it's very
He's
of the
feeling
times.
himself.
I don't mind Bet on It. Okay. Very mixed opinions of people with this when you say huma numa nuka nuka wa wa ah. How do you feel about it?
I hate it. I hate every
Really?
ounce of it in my being. Yes. I hate it so hard. Whenever I remember it vividly when it first came out on TV and I watched it. And he, what's his name? Fulton put Troy in the chair. Also, I hated that his name was Fulton and Troy was Bolton. I was very confused. But anyway, minor thing. Put him in the rock chair. It was made out of like fake rock. And then this bitch comes out and this whole Hawaiian set out. And I'm like, of course you are. Of course this is what's happening.
I mean, very on
hated
brand.
every second. Very on brand, but I do not like that song at all. I mute it.
I'm gonna disagree. I think it's a
what?
I think it's a banger.
No, it's horrifying.
Banger. But
no.
What is a banger is the absolutely freaking conic remix that Sharpay does of names.
You Are the Music in Me.
You Are the Music in Me. It is 10 times as better as that trash that they had when it was slow. That is trash when it's slow. When it's sped up and you're like, oh, and the way Troy goes real high, I'm like, Troy,
Yep.
sit on your testicles and go high. I'm
falsetto. Yes.
I'm like, get full into that. I absolutely hardcore stand that song.
I do too. I like that one much better than the original.
It's boring
and
when
it's boring. It's better with a rock-ish background to
it's like
it.
that pop,
I could do without the pop rock.
Yeah, and it's like, yes, Sharpay, absolutely freaking own it. You're owning it. And then Troy's like, what the fuck's going on? And it's so good. And she blatantly just stole the song. Who gives a shit, though? I know. Shit. I don't care. Own it.
She can do what she likes. She's Sharpay.
She's rich as all hell, and we all want to be rich in some way. It's just, we're all just jealous. Y'all jealous of Sharpay, and that's why y'all dislike her.
That's correct.
Straight facts. But yeah, You Are the Music in Me. Can we talk about what time is it? Because that's another one that it's mixed. Because We're All in This Together is so iconic, and then What Time Is It opens up number 2. I don't know. I go back and forth on it. Sometimes I'm like, this is a banger, and then other times I'm like, this is really like it's corny, but a little bit too much.
It needed to be toned down just a smidge. That's what I feel about a lot of these things in the High School Musical. That song in particular and the graduation song in 3, I thought were way too over the top. It's too much. You crank the dial to like 12, 13 when it should be a 10, you know? Yeah, it's too much. Like, nobody in school throws all their fucking papers around like that. We just don't. We grab our shit and we fucking leave.
And you'd get in trouble.
First of all, you get in trouble. Then you'd have to clean it all up. The amount of paper cuts, it's not worth it. Nobody does that. Let's just leave that alone.
Can we just say that?
Yeah, plus, why would you do that to Mrs. Darbus? Why would you ever?
We're going to have a conversation
disrespect
about her.
our Lord and Savior, Mrs. Darbus.
Oh, she's so good. She's so good.
I love her.
Yeah, what time is it? I go back and forth. I
don't mind some of it.
Work this out. Ooh, the footwork in that song.
The dancing was great. Work this out.
I really like Work This Out, and I didn't appreciate it until I was older.
Yeah, I didn't really care for it at first, but because in preparation, I watched all 3 again, of course.
Oh, me too.
And I was low key like bopping along to the song.
It's an absolute jam.
I was like, whoa, okay, all right.
It slaps.
But there's other songs in this movie, Josh, like I Don't Dance. Bro, get me the
started.
Fuck out.
Chad. Okay, Chad, you Afro bitch.
Can we?
Let's let's drag Chad for a minute, because this dude with his toxic masculinity, easy for me to freaking say.
Masculinity.
There
I
you
got
go.
you.
I'm like heated. I need to take off my jacket. Like, I'm like, Urgh. He brings in this
Yep.
toxic vibe that I'm not here for. You know me as a person, Queen. I am not here for none of that toxic man bullshit. I'm a very open book. I have a very big feminine side that I'm not afraid to explore. I think that's very healthy. And he just comes in here like, I don't dance because that's not what athletes do. Get
And then
outta
he
here.
proceeds to dance the
Bitch!
entire song.
I'm like,
Chad!
you're dancing nearly as good as Ryan is. What are you doing? Ryan
know.
slays. Let's his part
Ryan
of the song,
slays that entire
slay
song,
Ryan.
but-
And I'm glad they put some shine on some other characters that aren't named Troy and Gabriella. I'll give them that. But this song is hot garbage. I happily not listen to it. It's skipped.
Hot garbage. In this thread that you and I had, which is absolutely iconic, I popped off on Chad, and I'm going to read it right now because let me tell you. We were talking about problematic characters, and I was like, Chad is problematic. And I said, for real, he concocted the whole plan in movie 1, D-bag, then was a D-bag in movie 2, example A, going after Ryan because he dances and doesn't think he has game. Turns out Ryan's a World Little League Series champion, bitch, next. And in all caps, and does he even get any better in movie 3, Josh? Does he? Just because he wears slogan t-shirts that are environmentally friendly and doesn't hate the musicale this year? Boy, bye. I hate Chad. All he does is wear slogan t-shirts.
Bitch, I think I commented on that. You have the thread there, but I think I replied to that with some.
Said the biggest mood in the history of moods.
Exactly. Because it is.
You said, my God, Chad and his toxic masculinity can social distance the hell away from me. And I said, the only toxic we stand, Chad, is Brittany, bitch. And you lost it. So clearly we're on the same wavelength.
That's when the thread just went off
so
the
problematic.
rails. But
it did. But he is though, Josh, because even in movie 3, he can't even stay on stage with everybody when Mrs. Darbus is giving out the accolades because Troy doesn't want to go to college with you, bro. Are you that fragile in your friendship that you can't be 1,000 miles apart?
I don't understand.
Yes, be happy for your friends.
High School Musical 2. Any other bangers that you want to talk about from that movie?
No, I think we hit them all.
What's the last song in that movie? Is it Every Day?
All for One.
All for One. Actually, that is a banger. It has some moves in that. And Miley Cyrus, when she pops in, I lost my ass. Like, I was like, this is the end of that. You see her and you're like, it's Hannah. Hannah's here. Hannah Montana. Which we could probably talk about at fucking length as well as Hannah Montana and the iconicness that I feel from Hannah Montana. Ooh, I seen that.
You can do it. See, now this is where our age difference comes in because I was not Hannah Montana.
You were a bit removed.
I was well removed, yeah.
But I mean, you probably understand where I'm.
I do. I understand it. Yeah.
Anyway, you seen Miley. You obviously knew who Miley Cyrus was anyway, and you were like, "Oh, bitch, that's Miley." You like fucking slay. Who does slay? And I don't care what anyone says. I know she gets a bit of opinions, but I think Miley Cyrus slays. She has some bangers. A defense of Miley Cyrus, who was also listening, I'm sure.
Obviously.
Oh, obviously. Brittany, Miley, the cast of High School Musical, but not Chad. He can get out of here. He's banned. I timed him out from this podcast.
Fuck you, Chad. Hate you.
He didn't even slay in that skipping movie. You know the jump rope movie he had with Keke Palmer? Do you remember Push It? No, he had the song called Push It to the Limit. What was it called?
Yeah.
He did the double dutch. I can't think of what the movie is called. But he wasn't good in that either. That's my point. Yeah. All for One, it's a banger. Let's move on to 3 because this is where I fucking shine in music. Like, ooh. 3. Okay, we'll talk about Zac Efron, Troy's his best solo is Scream. Can we just...
Oh.
That beat, boom, boom, and he's around the school and he's screaming and like, this is like iconic Zac Efron. Like peak.
It
Troy.
is.
It's peak Troy.
Peak Troy. He hit the pinnacle because for me, when he hit Bet on It, and then when he hit Scream, I was like, oh, this is where we were leading to, bro. Like I'm here for this. And his conversation with Mrs. Darbus afterwards, I love. I stan. Great song. there are so many good ones in this that it's kind of nuts. I really like the soundtrack to 3.
Me too. It's the best.
But low-key, the music in 2, I feel like I had more ones that I could be like, I could get behind more in 2.
The overall gist of 3 is the strongest. Although my favorite song is in 3.
Which song is that, Josh?
Just
Tell
Wanna
the
Be With You.
world!
Just Wanna Be With You is my favorite song. But
So
the
cute.
version that has Sharpay at the start and then it transitions into Troy and Gabriella. I
Yeah.
think that's iconic. The sneezing.
You love
I just adore that song. And it's just the music did step up in the terms of like the general, it sounded more contemporary than, let's say, like a musical. You know, it was songs that could play on the radio a little
it was
bit
more
easier.
pop ready.
And it was like
Right.
easier on the casual ear. You know what I mean? Like of like older people and also like just amping up the quality of production and everything that goes into making a movie that goes to cinema. Just Want to Be With You, followed super duper closely by I Want It All.
Well, Josh,
Duh.
I mean, really.
I mean, that's peak Sharpay and peak
That's
Ryan.
peak
to be
Sharpay.
honest.
Yeah.
It's
They
peak.
hit the stride.
They had the big like elaborate, all the girls in the pink wigs, and the Gabriella had to be a like friggin' assistant, and it was my favorite thing ever. It was like, yeah, and like
Yes, queen.
everyone's in it. That is Sharpay at her best to me, and Ryan to a certain degree. And when she says Sydney, I lost my mind as a little kid. I was like, we're real.
Australia for real.
But it was just,
Sharpay
I love I Want It All. I love it
It's a
so
good song.
much. Like the beat,
good song.
imagine having everything we'd ever dreamed. And the way Ryan's like kind of reluctant and then he gets into it and then they're just dancing and it's so big. That to me is like the peak of like, oh, they're in a scene. This is huge. Like it is very good.
It is really good. It is very good. You know, they're and it should be the peak them because this is the last movie. This is it. This is where we've been building towards. And it was peak Sharpay and Ryan in that song. Peak Troy and Scream. Gabriella, I feel like never really hit her peak.
Walk Away is not.
It's not that good. It's not that
Gotta Go
good.
Your Own Way is better than Walk Away.
It is. It is. So I'm kind of disappointed they didn't do her justice with the same type of banger because I feel like
story with Gabriella, she declines.
I know she kind of gets shittier and shittier as we go forward. Actually, one of the most problematic characters. Also, like who. Anyway, that's not how college works in America. I don't want people to be confused. You don't just fucking leave your high school behind unless you've graduated early. You're not just like, all right, bye. I'm gonna go be truant in California. That's not how that works.
Wait. I'm trying to think. Where was High School
New
Musical?
Mexico. Albuquerque, Mexico.
That's not close to. How close?
It's close to. It's like as they say in movie 3, 1,050 whatever miles away. So it's New Mexico's kind of near Arizona, and Texas in the southwest, and then California
Honestly,
is the actual West Coast.
America's geography really freaking confuses me because everything that I think is close is not close. I'm like, oh,
no,
okay, that's not close at all.
It's not close at all. No, I mean it's close enough, but still 1,000 miles away.
I get
so, right. It's a bit of a distance. You have to take a plane. But
anyway, regardless,
the point is,
Walk Away. It did not slap.
Terrible. I didn't like that.
It did not slap.
Didn't slap. Night to Remember also didn't slap. Didn't like that.
Hold the phones on that one, Queen.
Don't like it.
I will not take you dragging A Night to Remember. That song.
Oh well, I'm about to.
No.
It's so stupid.
So no,
it did not.
Bitch, they were going to prom.
Okay, that's not how we get ready for prom.
Bish. Oh my god, this.
He's looking at me like I'm crazy,
here,
y'all.
I guess we'll agree to disagree. Oh, yeah, also something we didn't touch on in the second movie. We didn't talk about the absolute banger that was Fabulous.
Oh, well, I mean, I kind of felt like that one without saying because it's a Sharpay song and every one of her songs.
Is I Want It All the best, or what is your opinion here? I think I Want It All is the best Sharpay song.
I think I Want It All is the best Sharpay song, followed closely by Bop to the Top.
Ooh, you like Bop to the Top better than Fabulous.
I do. Fabulous gets a little repetitive for me.
That's fair.
And it's weird. It's weirdly paced for
I
me.
get that.
I don't dislike it. But also, no, you know what? I'm going to take that back. I Want It All, followed by You Are the Music and Me Sharpay version, then Bop to the Top, then Fabulous.
Okay. All bops, though.
Yeah.
Let's just state that.
All great ones.
All great.
All great ones. Fabulous just doesn't flow the way the rest of her songs do for me.
What?
So.
I'm trying to think. I'm having mental farts for some reason. High School Musical 3 started with what song?
Now or Never.
Not my favorite.
Don't like that one.
Yeah, not my favorite.
The best opener by far is in 1. Sorry. It just is.
It is. No, it is.
It is.
It is. I agree with that. I
It
actually
is.
really
Start
do
something
agree with
new rules every single time. Sorry. It does.
Now, you said you had a pretty strong opinion about High School Musical, the song, at the end of High School Musical 3. Not a slapper for you? Because I think it fucks. I'm into it.
I mean,
it's cheesy.
It's okay, but this just is like, like at the end of 2 when they raised those goddamn lanterns, I was like, can I vomit anymore? Stop. That's the kind of cheesy stuff I can't take, and that's the little bit of what I felt here. But I think the song itself is very good. I just don't think I like the way that they did it at the end.
Okay, I can understand that. I'll agree with you on that, definitely. What's some other bangers from? Or do we touch on all the bangers from High School Musical 3?
I think we did. I mean, The Boys Are Back is fine. It's not great. Can I Have This Dance is cheesy and stupid.
Yep.
Right Here, Right Now, I don't like. And The Treehouse.
That's better than Can I Have This Dance?
Yes, I agree, but I still don't like it. And Walk Away, we talked about them all. The musical medley was fun. It was like what it needed to be for the spring musicale.
How do you feel about the old British bee that's in this movie? What's her face? Sharpay's little friend, but doesn't beat a friend.
Oh yes, her fake. I don't even know. Who cares?
The British girl. She's British.
The British girl.
She's British girl, and Sharpay absolutely fucking owns her at the end. I'm like, yes, Sharpay. There's only one queen bee around here, and it's Sharpay. It ain't you. Get out of here.
Get wrecked.
I did like the medley. It did its job.
It did its job. It wasn't spectacular, but it did its job, and it conveyed the story. I don't dislike the last song, Josh. I just thought it was a lot.
I
get. This last
it's
song.
The end. It's like they all did the thing with the High School Musical sign that came down, and they're all like smiling. I understand it. I definitely understand it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Listening to just the music without watching the movie, I'll happily listen to it.
Yes,
I agree. I think you're more so on the visual aspect of it, maybe.
Yeah, the visual is what I didn't like. The song I think is good. I like it. I just don't like. It was like so much. But that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll just listen to him.
No, I understand.
I think the other thing though that we didn't talk about was the fact that they made sing-along versions the best. I mean, come on, it's the best.
It is, because you know how many times I closed my eyes and was like, I'm in this movie, and those songs just like you could just. Like the lyrics and everything. It was just so good. I wish I was a kid again, to be completely honest.
I know. It makes me feel like that. It's nostalgic. It's fun.
Yeah.
The first movie came out in 2006, 14 years ago. Things were so different, and like
the world is a very different place. Do you think these movies have aged well?
Aside from Chad's problematic behavior, yes, I do.
I think there is. Yeah.
There's some stuff I don't really care for.
There's some stuff in it that's very with that time, and it doesn't really.
Yeah, it doesn't translate now, but I think it's aged well in terms of like the actual story. I think they did good.
It's still very relevant.
Yeah.
That will never change.
I could see them.
That high school life will never. It changes slightly, but the narrative never really changes.
The narrative never really changes, right? And the whole, like we talked about earlier, with the plot line and the self-discovery and all of that is transcendent through time, kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. As we wrap this up, I have to ask you straight off. When I ask you this, I want you to not think about it. I want you to just give me your first answer. Best character in the movie. Go.
Mrs. Darbus.
Okay. Okay, that's a good answer.
You know, I stan Mrs. Darbus.
I know you do.
In my heart of hearts, my soul.
I don't think she's. I appreciate her a lot, and she's fantastic.
She's not the best character, but I love her.
But that's
She's my favorite character.
At the same time, that's your gut reaction, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. What about you? Gut reaction?
Mine's Ryan.
Sharpay. Ryan?
Ryan.
Oh.
I think I like Ryan better than I like Sharpay.
I do too. I like Ryan better than Sharpay.
Character development. As a kid, Sharpay, 100%. As an adult, Ryan.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the best character arc is Ryan.
The worst character in that movie is Gabriella. She's so problematic. 100%. She is, to me, she's the absolute evil villain of that movie. She's the Darth Vader of that movie. And I'll stand by
Oh my God, Darth Vader!
I will say that. Because she has moments. Darth Vader, don't call me crazy yet. Let me explain. Darth Vader has moments of clarity and moments of real and moments of compassion. Anakin Skywalker had moments of compassion. Darth Vader had moments of compassion. Gabriella has moments of compassion. But her overall narrative is to just do things that is right for one person. And it's Gabriella. Darth Vader does things right for one person. He tried to kill his freaking son.
I know, and I felt
I'm not putting that past you, Gabriella, out there.
I think she was problematic the most in movie 2, where she didn't try to correct. Not that she had to correct Troy, that's not the right wording, but to communicate more efficiently. Because she just stood there, like, looking so.
And it was just like, she was like, you're a dumb boy. You're a dumb boy. I'm going to move away.
And, like, Taylor.
Oh, don't get me.
Taylor egged that shit on. And that is not how you be a good
She was
friend.
an influencer. She was a bystander. She watched this happen, and she was just like trying to be, instead of being a good friend, she was trying to tell Gabriella what she wanted to hear.
Yep.
And I don't
Gabriella
appreciate
fed that shit. I don't either.
Absolutely
Taylor.
She did.
She's another problematic one. I don't really like her as much either.
She's
the same, for me, she's the same as Chad, but in a different way.
It's in a, you got to think about it more. It's not on the forefront.
Correct.
Like Chad is, a lot of people like Chad, I feel, but I didn't appreciate Chad at all.
I didn't like Chad. Sorry, boy bye.
Yep, absolutely boy bye. Well, listen, we could talk about this for a really long time, and I'm sure we'll probably do more episodes on this.
I'm sure
I'll quickly touch on, you're a fan, I'm a fan, it's super cheesy. High School Musical, the musical, the series, is fantastic, and I won't let anyone tell me it's not.
I think it's great, actually.
I
think it's hilarious.
The teacher? What's her name?
The teacher? Katie? No.
Can't think of a name. But it's lame. It's cheesy and corny.
She was in the original High School Musical as like a dancer or whatever. And she's coming back to teach at the same high school where High School Musical took place, and they're putting on High School Musical. It's hilarious.
I think it's great. And it is lame, and I don't care. I don't care.
It's fine.
It's fun.
And guess what? The Troy characters and Gabriella are still problematic. Absolutely. Shocker.
Absolutely they are. Absolutely they are. It's fine. I'll quickly touch on Camp Rock, like I said at the start, because it's for my sanity. I know you're not a Camp Rock person. Have you watched Camp Rock?
All right. Yeah, I didn't like it.
Okay. I'm curious. It's similar in the same vein as High School Musical. I guess you'll put it in that.
It's not as good.
Is it
imitation
is it because it's so similar to High School Musical and it's not as good, you just don't like it?
I do not like it because of that. I think it's too similar. I think it was released too soon. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't like Demi in the role. I just didn't like it. I love her voice.
Do you like Demi Lovato?
I like her voice. Yes. I like her music. I don't like this.
Jonas Brothers?
Could do without them too. Because, see, I grew up in an era where boy bands were fucking iconic. And then these fucks came along, and I'm like, imitations. Sorry.
I can appreciate
it's just
that.
not, I don't like
it.
it.
Any of the music?
Not really. It never really sat well with me, Josh, because High School Musical was so goddamn good that I was like, why are we doing this? This is not necessary. Change the plot line. Yeah.
I understand it.
But I know you liked it.
I didn't like it as much as High School Musical. I'll put that out there. But I think some of the music is better. I think the music shines way better than the actual plot line because it is just kind of a carbon copy in a camp setting. But the music I really like. Like, I do. Not as rounded, but the songs that I really do like, I love. That's how all I'll say about Camp Rock. But Demi Lovato,
I got you.
I mean, Demi Lovato is like, I'm a teenager and I'm like, whew, I love Demi. I was gonna marry Demi. I mean, it could still happen. You never know. Dream big, people.
You never know.
You never know. And Demi she's had a lot of struggles in the last. Well, she's been in and out of different situations, and I like stories like that they're kind of trying to make themselves better. And she makes some bangers now. Yeah. She has some bangers.
She does. Stone Cold.
Oh, Stone Cold. That like hits me here. I love a good song. Honestly, I'm not afraid to admit this. I like to have a good cry to music sometimes because it's real.
Hey, listen, it's real and it feels good and it helps. That's what it is, homie.
It's therapeutic. It is. But Stone Cold is a great song. Disney Stars.
Oh, so good.
I like Disney Stars' story because I grew up with them. Miley, Demi.
I understand.
I grew up with that, and I'm just like, good redemption arc. Good redemption arc. I'm here for the underdog story. Regardless, Queen, this has been a very fun chat. There's a lot more we could dive into. I think we could have a whole episode on how problematic Chad and Gabriella really are.
Yeah, we could dive into that.
That's what I'm best for. Leave you wanting more, people. For the people that don't like High School Musical, you can fuck off. Kidding.
You can get wrecked.
You get absolutely freaking wrecked. Get shit on. This is an episode purely for us, Queen, I think. This is us in a nutshell.
It is.
We love wrestling to bits, but sometimes my favorite conversations with all people on wrestling Twitter is the stuff not about wrestling. Honestly.
I know. You're the Ryan to my Sharpay.
Oh, that's
and the Sammy Guevara to my Jericho.
That is the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. Also, Sammy and Jericho, us, by the way, us. Absolutely.
Us.
We slay. You know this, Queen.
Totally.
I don't watch a lot of AEW, but when I see those gifts, bitch, I'm ready for it. And I'm just like, it's so funny to me because Jericho's this old man, and I'm just like, Queen is this old man, and this kid. Sammy Guevara is younger than I am. I'm pretty freaking certain. It's like, I think he is.
I think he might be a little bit younger than you.
I think he might be a little bit younger than me. But honestly, I'm here for it. I'm here for those gifts, and oh man, I'm just
we slay every Wednesday.
Thread, by the way, guys, that thread, everybody saw it because it got a lot of interaction. Because it started going. I was never a Glee guy.
I wasn't a Glee girl, so it's okay.
I didn't really rate Glee.
No, never liked it.
It did what it did, and I understand why people liked it, but it wasn't for me. Which is weird, because it's in that vein of High School Musical, and like that kind of genre of television and movies, and we both didn't really love it.
Nope.
But anyway, that will do us for this week on the Josh Robinson Show. I'm glad to be back. Oh, thank you, Queen. Of course, this is your chance.
Thank you, Josh.
Put yourself over. Listen, you're killing it over on Smart to Death Radio. That's a great little group, and it's just like, oh, this feels nice, and like it's like watching you all just thrive. You and JPQ and Mags and Warren Hayes and just everything over there. But you're always crushing it. I'll always put you over. Spew. But what's coming up for Queen? What's going on here?
Well, first of all, you slay all day, like our Queen Bee would say.
Obviously.
And you're the best. Thank you for having me back and having this awesome chat. What's coming over Queen's Court? Well, this week I dropped an interview with the heavy cruiserweight Crash Jackson. Super fun chat. And on Wednesday U.S. time, which will be, who the fuck knows? Whatever. We'll figure it out. Wednesday U.S. time is my show drops, Queen's Court, which is all about Money in the Bank review with Armbar Radio. Come on, and we have a good chat about that. And, maybe some cool, fun things from the works. Smart to Death Radio is dope. Follow that. And DYWTSB, follow us there, too, for a lot of fun.
Go follow Queen, everybody. Of course, you can follow me at Josh Robinson 00. I will be posting all the stuff I normally post. And all of the other fun stuff that I do. Continue to rate this podcast. Of course, 5 stars on iTunes, wherever you follow, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until you'll hear me tomorrow on Brothers by Law, but if you're only listening to the Josh Robinson Show, I'll see you next Wednesday. Goodbye, everyone.